Hey guys, this is God of Politics, and welcome back to a brand new video. But before we get started with this video, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also, join the Discord that is linked down in the description, and check out the website, which is also linked down in the description. But in today's video, I will be doing my final House of Representatives elections prediction for this election, which is now just 3 days away. And this is a very, very important election, and the House is a big part of that. If any president wants to get legislation done, it has to go through the House. So this is very important to talk about, and I will be doing my predictions. I'll be going state by state. My projections won't be too in-depth, my reasoning for them, just because of the fact that there's so many competitive seats. If I actually talked in depth about them, I'd be here all day. But the categorization I use for likely, lean, tilt, and safe is 0 to 2 for tilt, 2 to 5 for lean, 5 to 10 for likely, and 10 plus for safe. So just going through each one of these states here. First, you have the state of Alabama, where there is nothing competitive. It's all safe. Alaska, you do have Don Young's seat here. He's been around for a while. I don't expect it to be too competitive. He's actually doing well with the non-whites, the Alaska Native people, so I do think he's going to do well there and be able to win, even though it is Alaska and it's going to be a little bit closer, but he'll still win. First district, I do believe is likely in Arizona. Second district, I also believe is likely. As for the 6th district, this could be a sleeper for the Democrats. I do believe this is an opportunity they have. They're doing well in the fundraising and the trends are in their favor, but I don't believe they're going to have enough to beat David Schweikart. Arkansas is the next state where they do have the 2nd district, which I believe is likely. I don't think it's going to be that close, but I do believe it will be a little bit closer than a safe margin. California, there's a number of interesting seats. I would correct a lot of these, to be honest. First is the 1st congressional district, which I think would go by a safe margin. The next congressional district is the 22nd, which I also believe would go by a safe margin. If we go to the 22nd congressional district, the next is the 42nd congressional district here. I also believe that will go by a safe margin. Looking at some of these other seats, I believe the 21st will go by tilt margin. This will be one of the closest House elections in the country. You have David Valido, the Republican candidate who was representative of this district for a while before TJ Cox beat him. He's now running against him. He's doing well in the fundraising, and although this is a district Clinton won by 16 percentage points, TJ Cox isn't that great of a candidate, but I do believe he'll very narrowly win this seat. California's 25th congressional district, I do believe, would be tilt Democrat. This is due to the fact that, Mike Garcia won in a very low turnout election, especially low turnout amongst Latinos and young people, so he was able to win. But this is a suburban California district that Romney won and Clinton won by 7. Biden's most likely going to win it by double digits. So it's going to be very difficult for Mike Garcia to be able to win, and I do believe Christy Smith, even though she's not that great of a candidate, will be able to win. Jill Cisneros, I do believe his seat is lean. You look at his opponent, Young Kim, who's actually quite a good candidate. She ran against him in 2018. She's actually outraising Jill Cisneros, which is one of the only examples of that in the country where Republicans are raising a Democrat, but it is still an Orange County area, suburban LA, that is trending towards the Democrats, so I do expect Jill Cisneros to still be able to win. The next district is the 45th congressional district with Katie Porter. She has so much money and it's trending towards the Democrats. I think she'll win by a safe margin. California's 48th, however, I do believe is going to go by a likely margin. Harley Rauda is a pretty good candidate. It's this coastal seat around Orange County. Hillary Clinton only won it by 1, but Romney won it by a bunch, so I do believe this is a district that Harley Rauda will be able to do quite well in. Colorado is the next state where I wouldn't actually change anything. I actually agree with the ratings that they have for the state of Colorado. Connecticut is the next state here where everything is safe for the Democrats. Same thing in Delaware with its 1 at-large district. Florida, there is a little bit of competitiveness in some of these seats. I do believe first that the 18th district, rather than being likely, is actually going to be safe, and I do believe the 15th instead of being lean is actually going to be likely. The incumbent was defeated in Florida's 15th congressional district, and it's a district Trump won quite easily. As for the rest of it, I probably would agree with that, so nothing really competitive in Florida. Georgia is another state where we do have 2 competitive seats, the 6th and the 7th. However, I do believe that Lucy McBeth, who before added a lean margin, and Caroline Bordeaux, who before added a tilt margin, I do believe that their ratings have been now moved up into likely and lean, respectively. This is Georgia suburbs. They're going to be able to win quite easily. Hawaii, we just have the 2 congressional districts that are safe for the Democrats. Idaho, you have the same story, 2 congressional districts safe for the Republicans. Illinois, we have a couple of interesting ones, but no flips that I do believe are going to happen. Illinois' 17th congressional district is a district that Cheri Bustos did well in 2018, and she has a lot of fundraising. She's been doing well in polls, even the Republican internal polls, and this is an area that trended very red in 2016, but I expect it to trend a little bit back towards the Democrats because, Obama just did so well in 2012 in some of these rural Illinois areas that it was impossible for Hillary Clinton to improve even further, but I do believe Cheri Bustos will be able to win easily. The 6th congressional district, I also believe, this is Chicago suburbs. It's going to be able to be won easily by the Democrats. Lauren Underwood, I think, wins by a likely margin. This is also Chicago suburbs, just a little bit more red. Illinois' 13th congressional district, I had this as likely for a while, but maybe it could be a little bit closer, probably going by around a lean margin. Indiana, you've got the 1 competitive congressional district, that is the 5th congressional district. I do believe, even though it's Indianapolis suburbs, Trump won it by 12 percentage points. It's going to be hard to beat a Republican incumbent, even in the suburbs, and I do believe it is lean Republican, I should say. Iowa, you've got the 3 districts, which I do believe are all lean Democrat, and then you've got the 1, which is safe Republican, so nothing really competitive there. Democrats win easily. Kansas, I also agree with it here. I do believe Sharice Davis is actually now safe at this point. I also believe Steve Watkins could be a little bit closer, but he'll also be able to win quite easily. Kentucky is another district, another state where nothing really competitive except for the 6th, which is likely, but regardless of that, doesn't really matter. Louisiana, it is all safe margins in Louisiana as well. Maine, where you have Jared Golden. Jared Golden is a very good candidate. He's been leading by double digits, almost 20 points and over 25 points in some of these polls. And sure, Trump won the district, but that doesn't mean Jared Golden's going to lose. And you should know Maine is a very independent state. It's a very interesting state. Jared Golden's a good candidate for this district, and he is going to be able to win quite easily. Maryland is the next district where I do believe that there are obviously all safe Democrat districts. Massachusetts, it is also all safe Democrat districts. Michigan, there are a couple competitive districts, but I don't believe there's going to be any flips. I believe that the 7th, as they say, is likely. I believe this is actually safe. It's a gerrymandered district. It's going to be impossible for Democrats to win that. Michigan's 6th congressional district, I believe, is likely. Fred Upton's been around for a while. Sure, the district was a little bit close to the presidential level, but not going to be that competitive. Same thing with Michigan's 3rd congressional district. Sure, Democrats have been up in a couple polls, and their fundraising has been pretty good, but they're not going to be able to get enough margins in the Kent County to be able to overcome those rural areas, and so you will see that Peter Maher will be able to win his district. Both of these districts are likely for the Democrats, though. The next state is the state of Minnesota, and Minnesota is quite an interesting state. If we could just go over here to the state of Minnesota, because you actually will have one of the very few Republican flips here, and that is going to be Colin Peterson's seat. He's in a district Trump won by 31 percentage points. It's very hard for him to win. He barely won in 2018, given the fact, and you have to note the fact that he barely had a candidate running against him who also had no fundraising, and it was a blue wave year. He's now got a good candidate who's been ahead in the polls, and she has good fundraising. So Colin Peterson, I do believe, is going to lose. But one also is lean Republican is Minnesota's 3rd congressional district. Sure, it trended towards the Democrats or towards the Republicans and Donald Trump in 2016, but it's been held by Democrats for a while, so it could be a little bit closer, and the polls have shown a little bit closer. The fundraising showed Democrats have been doing well, but I do believe it's still lean Republican. Mississippi, there is nothing competitive here. You just have the 4 safe congressional districts, 3 for Republicans, 1 for Democrats. Missouri, nothing really competitive here either, except for the 2nd district, which I believe is lean Republican. Sure, St. Louis suburbs, it'll trend blue, but it's not going to be enough to flip the district. Montana, you have Matt Rosendale here running for the Republicans, who lost statewide in 2018. He kind of choked that race against John Tester. Should have won that, to be honest. But he's now running against Kathleen Williams. He's been doing better in the polls. He's been doing better in the fundraising. While it's going to be close, especially given the fact that, Trump's going to win it quite easily on the presidential level, he will still end up winning. Nebraska is another district where we just have 1 competitive congressional district, and that is the 2nd congressional district. For a while, I had this as lean Republican, but I now think it's tilt Republican. Kerry Eastman's not that great of a candidate, but I do expect Joe Biden to do quite well here, and this district is very suburban, and Kerry Eastman's gotten her fundraising game up a little bit. So I do believe it'll be close, but I do expect John Bacon to still win. Nevada, no disagreements with the map here. New Hampshire, let's look at the New Hampshire map. I do believe that the first congressional district is likely, but the second district, however, I do believe it is safe for the Democrats. The next district is New Jersey. The next state is New Jersey, where I have a couple changes here. First is the 7th congressional district. I believe the 7th congressional district is likely. I believe the 3rd congressional district is also likely. You know, Andy Kim's a great candidate, even though Trump won the district. Trump will probably win none of these districts again because Obama won all these districts, and Hillary Clinton didn't do that well in New Jersey, and, you know, Biden has a lot of room to gain. The polls have shown him doing better, and just the natural trends of the state would, show that he's doing better. I also believe that Jeff Van Drew is actually going to lose. You know, Amy Kennedy's been doing well in the fundraising. She's been leading on all the polls that I've seen, and people were actually upset at Jeff Van Drew that he switched parties. So after this election, you could see a map where Republicans only have one congressional district, which is in New Jersey, which is a very big change from what is like at the beginning of the decade, or 2012, when Republicans actually had 7 out of 14 districts. New Jersey. After New Jersey, we have New Mexico. This is also going to be very close, along with California's 21st congressional district. This is going to be one of very close races. However, I do think that Xochitl Torres-Small will narrowly win. You know, we had some polls. I think we had a poll released today showing that Yvette Herrell was up by 2 percentage points. This is a rematch of 2018. But, you know, Xochitl Torres-Small is doing very well in the fundraising, and although she had to come in against Biden on the oil comments, stuff like that, I don't think that's going to matter that much because people who liked oil were already voting for Donald Trump, and they probably won't voting for Torres-Small as well, and she came out against what Biden said. But she's been doing well in the fundraising, she's been doing well in the polls, and I do expect the district to be closer to the presidential level as well. New York is another state here where we do have a couple competitive seats. First, I believe the 27th is safe. I don't know why it's listed as likely. That's a safe district. Katko, I believe, is tilt Republican. I do think he'll narrowly hold on. New York's 22nd, I do believe, is tilt Democrat. You know, we had a poll here from Siena College that showed Brindisi up 9, which actually showed him down 6 in 2018. So that's quite an interesting thing to see. New York's 19th, I do believe, is likely. However, New York's 18th, I do believe, is safe. You know, this is an area, you know, New York suburbs. Sean Maloney won by a safe margin in 2018. I think he'll be able to do it again. New York's 11th, I think Max Rose, despite the fact that he was down 2 points in one poll, he was also down in 2018, and he ended up winning by 6 percentage points. This is Staten Island. It could trend a little bit towards the Democrats. It includes Staten Island, a little bit of Brooklyn. Obama won in 2012. I do think Biden will do better here this time, and I do think Max Rose will be able to win. Peter King, I do believe this district is tilted Democrat. You know, this is New York suburbs as well, the Long Island area, and Peter King's been the long-time incumbent of this district, but you do have Andrew Garbarino for the Republicans going against Jackie Gordon for the Democrats, and I do believe Jackie Gordon will be able to do quite well, and she'll be able to win the district by a tilt margin. It will be close. Finally, I also believe that the 1st congressional district will be a likely margin rather than a lean margin. You have Lee Zeldin here, who's done very well in certain polls and fundraising. He's a good candidate for the district, and I do expect him to win by a likely margin. North Carolina is the next state. Looking at the state of North Carolina, first you have the 2nd and the 6th, which are freebies for the Democrats because of the redistricting. I also believe the 1st is a safe margin. I don't know why that's listed as competitive. The next district is going to be the 8th congressional district, which, if we look up here, I do believe it won't be lean. I do believe it will be likely, though. I also do believe that the open seat, North Carolina's 11th, where you have Madison Cawthorn running, I do believe that will also be a likely margin, but no flips at the House level in North Carolina. North Dakota, nothing competitive there. Ohio, you know, a lot of people have been talking about some seats flipping in Ohio, but I just don't see it. I don't see the 1st district flipping. I have this as lean. Republican had it likely for a while. Could be on the cusp of lean and likely. I think it goes by around 5. Ohio's 10th congressional district, I think, goes by a safe margin, as well as Ohio's 12th. I don't think they're going to be competitive, even if they're closer at the presidential level. Oklahoma, this is also going to be very close because Kendra Horn, despite the fact that this is a district Trump won by 13 percentage points, is really in the running for victory. And this district is, you know, Oklahoma City suburbs, so she can do better. However, I do expect Kendra Horn to narrowly lose to Stephanie Bice by a tilt margin. You know, some of the polls that showed Kendra Horn down 10 percentage points in 2018 are now showing her winning. So it's going to be very interesting, but I do think she still narrowly loses. Oregon's 4th congressional district, I think, is likely rather than lean. You know, he's been around for a long time, and despite the fact that Hillary Clinton barely won the district, I do think he's going to be able to win quite easily. Pennsylvania is another one of these states where we have a couple of competitive races here. I do believe first the 16th is a safe margin rather than likely. The 10th district, this has been quite interesting because even, you know, Republican internals have showed it close, and DePasquale is doing quite well in the fundraising, and this is in the Harrisburg area of Pennsylvania. However, I do think Perry narrowly holds on. Pennsylvania's 7th district, I actually think, is safe. You look at some of the polls for this district. Susan Wild's been up by around 17 percentage points in some polls, so she's doing quite well. Brian Fitzpatrick, I think, holds on. I think it'll be closer than some people think because it is Philadelphia suburbs, the Bucks County area over here, but I do think he will still end up winning. Rhode Island, you have the 2 safe Democratic districts there. South Carolina, you do have 1 competitive district. The first, I don't know why it rates the second as competitive. I do believe that's safe Republican. The first district, however, I do believe is tilt Democrat. Joe Cunningham was up like 13 points in his own internals, which is very good for him. And this is a district that is actually trending towards the Democrats. So Trump will not win it by 13 percentage points again. But this will also be a close district. Not as close as some of the others, but it'll be close. He'll win by around 1. South Dakota is the next state where you just have the 1 at-large safe Republican district. Tennessee, nothing competitive there. Texas, we have a number of competitive seats here in Texas. You have, a lot of districts. And the reason that there are so many competitive districts is because when Texas and the legislature made in the map back in 2010 or 2011, 2012, you would see that, a lot of the districts that are competitive now were not even close to being competitive then. So there are a lot of things to talk about on this map. First, I do believe that the 3rd district is actually likely. I believe the 6th district is also likely. The 7th district is likely. The 10th district, I do believe, is also lean. The 21st district, I actually believe Chip Roy will actually lose to Wendy Davis. She's doing very well in the fundraising. She is, well known. She was the gubernatorial candidate in 2014, and although she did bad, she got name recognition, which led to fundraising for this race. She's doing quite well in the polls, and the district is trending towards the Democrats. It is the San Antonio and a little bit of the Austin suburbs. Pete Olson, he is retiring, and you have Sri Kulkarni going against Troy Niels. Troy Niels has virtually no money, and Trump only won this district by 8 percentage points, and it's trending towards the Democrats rapidly. Mitt Romney won this district by around 25 percentage points, so it's trending very fast towards the Democrats. 23rd, this will be another flip for the Democrats, where I do have this seat as lean Democrat. The 24th district, however, I do believe is still Republican. Democrats didn't run the best candidate for this district, and so I do believe that it will narrowly go towards the Republican Party here. I do believe that Beth Doyne will narrowly win. I don't know if I pronounced that right. But looking at this, I do believe that I have corrected all of this. Yes, so that is the state of the race in Texas. Utah is the next state where you're going to have a very close race. I do believe that this race could really go either way. However, right now I think Burgess Owens will win. He had, somewhat of a scandal, like a campaign finance violation. But Ben McAdams, he barely won in 2018, and this is a district Trump won by 7 percentage points, and I expect him to do better because of the fact that you won't have Evan McMullen on the ticket. Trump won by 7 percentage points, but people forget the fact that Hillary Clinton only got 32% of the vote, and he got like 38% of the vote. So, Trump is going to do well in this district, and I do believe Ben McAdams will narrowly lose. Vermont, we have the 1 at-large safe district for the Democrats. Virginia, not much competitive here. Actually, we have a couple seats that could theoretically flip. The 5th district, I do believe, is tilt Republican. This is going to be very, very close because you have Bob Good going up against Cameron Webb. Cameron Webb is doing well in the polls. He's got good fundraising, and Trump will win in the district by less right now, but I do believe that Bob Wood will narrowly be able to pull it off. I also believe that the 1st district is actually safe Republican. I don't know what's put as likely. I think it is safe. The 2nd and 7th, I do believe, are both lean Democrat, however, even though they are in Trump districts. Washington, not much competitive here. You do have the 3rd district, which I actually would say is more around the likely margin Republican. I do believe Herrera Buehler will be able to win quite easily. Next, if we go to the state of West Virginia, and we do see here that there are 3 districts that are all going to be safe for Republicans, but they will be losing a district after this election. Wisconsin, which is one of the last states where we have a competitive district. The 3rd district, which I believe is safe Democrat. Ron Kind won very easily in 2018, and he's going to be able to win very easily this time around. So looking overall, we have Wyoming, which is the final state, which I don't believe, it's just the 1 at-large district, which is not competitive. So looking at the final map here, I am predicting that Democrats will win 239 seats. Republicans will win 196. This will be a net gain of 4 for the Democrats over the 2018 elections, a net loss of 4 for the Republican Party. This would be an overall good result for the Democrats. I do believe that they do have a good chance of this map happening. They could even do a little better than this. Maybe they do a little worse. We will just have to see. House races are hard to predict, but this is my prediction, which I believe will will be very, at least close to accurate, but we will see. We will see. Anyway, thank you all for watching this video. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also, join the Discord that is linked down in the description, and check out the website, which is also linked down in the description. But again, guys, thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you guys later.